today I thought I'd take a look at how you make synthwave sounds. Look at the synths behind me, they're all 1980s sort of synthwave classics as it were. They're the beating heart of the synthwave sound, and the one thing they've all got in common is that none of them has got a really complex modulation matrix. In fact, the Prophet 5 I've got in front of me with this polymod section is probably the most complex of the lot. So I just thought run through how you make some of the sounds, give you the tools to do it yourself so you don't have to rely on preset packs. So I'll just really jump straight in and start creating some bass tones. I'm going to start off with a simple sawtooth. It's basically the initial patch you get on any synth. The attack's on 0, release is on 0 and all this. The cutoff's turned up full. I'm only listening to one oscillator and that oscillator is playing a sawtooth. And if you follow this video, you should be able to do this on pretty much any synth because it's the basic of subtractive synthesis, which almost every synth uses. So let's start off with the bass. One thing I should say here is I'm in this unison mode here with one voice only, which means that I'm playing in mono. Can't play chords. You don't want to be able to play chords when you're playing bass, otherwise I'll just turn the release up. That's nice and clear. If we don't have it in mono mode, which is nice in some occasions, but not when you're playing a bass. So, work out where your mono mode is. First thing we're going to do with a bass, if you think about a bass guitar, it's got a nice transient attack and then it dulls down. So it's going to drop from bright to slightly dull. There we go. And a little bit of release on the filter envelope so that the envelope's still open, or the filter's still open once you release the key. Okay, let's put a beat on. One thing we don't want to do is put up the resonance too high because it all becomes a bit 90s then, not a bit 80s. So that's the most basic sort of bass sound you're ever going to get. Let's add a square. Just the square. This is on 50%. If we change it to a pulse, it goes a little bit brighter, sort of sharper sounding. Nice big and hollow we want it for a bass though. Then let's maybe add a bit of PWM so it does this automatically. So we get an LFO on a triangle, turn up the initial amount and put it onto the pulse width. Every synth will do this slightly differently, but it's the same basic premise. Sounding nice, sounding very, very 80s. Let's add a second oscillator maybe. Turn that up. Maybe stick it on an octave higher. Maybe turn that to a sawtooth. Resonance. Everything I'm doing here has got that really nice synthwave feel. Everything I've done there sounds synthwave. There's 1,000 different ways of doing all those tones, but if you get the general basics right, and that's the fact that you've got a little bit of cut off, you've got the envelope up a bit, and it closes the filter slightly over the tone, over the time of the tone. And you've got a little bit of release there, just makes it sound a little bit more natural. Got yourself a nice little sounding bass. So let's try that, make it a little bit longer, try and play around with the sound a bit more. This is just a single pulse wave with a little bit of LFO. Take the LFO off. Really simple. Let's have the second one an octave higher again. Slightly detune it. And bring this down an octave. A bit more detune. Sounds a bit dirty and rough, that, doesn't it? A bit more envelope. Bring the cutoff down, a little bit more resonance. Play with the decay on the filter, makes it snappy or not. Bring this in as a square as well. Or even as a triangle, an octave lower. Looks like a sub now. We can play around with the different oscillators. You see how the PWM gives a really fat tone on the square. Put this up an octave again. So again, play around with it, but they give you those nice long bass tones that you can sidechain and get throbbing. It's not something they did in the 80s perhaps, but it just gives that really nice, rich overall feel for tracks where you don't want a bass line, you just want a nice low end. So let's try and make them a bit faster. This is actually playing 2 notes at the top and 2 notes at the bottom, but you can't hear them because the sustains up all the way. So we drop the sustain. And the snappiness now is determined by the decay. And when you're writing a track or you're recording something, you want to be doing this all the way through, it's really nice. So the balance between the envelope amount and the cutoff frequency. This is the minimum it's going to drop to, and this determines how high up or how bright it goes. So it's dropping down to the sustain level. Okay, so let's play with the oscillators as well. Sounds quite nice. Just a simple square. Still sounds nice. Let's have the second one. That's on a square as well. Let's put the pulse width modulation just on the second one, the high one. Let's put it on just the low one. Both. Bring this one down, so it's the same frequency. Detune it a little bit more, make it fatter. Again, you know, you get preset packs, and 4 of the things I've done there would be 4 separate sounds. Once you know what you're doing, it makes it really simple, and we can turn that now into sort of a melodic pluck. Add some release. Have just the sawtooth. Nice stuff. Let's try a little arpeggio. We want these to be really snappy, so we're going to drop the sustain and play around with the decay again. Get really little clicky sounds from that as we close the actual size of the pulse. Goes quiet though, as you can hear. Add in a little bit of attack. All very nice. Let's try some pads. Let's go back to the sawtooth again. Let's turn everything down, cut off up. Let's leave the release on because we're going to use it anyway. Beautiful. Let's play some pads. Whoops. Let's not knock it out of tune. single oscillator. Bit of a plucky pad there. Let's put a bit of pulse width modulation on again, because it does sound nice on a pad. A bit of attack. Nice. Let's just have a sawtooth again. Let's have 2 sawtooths detuned at the same pitch. Ah, beautiful all this, isn't it? It's a gorgeous synth. Pad, add more attack. Got that sort of brassy feel. Let's add some squares into this, or some pulses. Very brassy. Let's put a little bit of this on. Oh, lovely. And we are allowed to use reverb, so we're not stuck in the 80s, so this Empress reverb is absolutely spectacular. It makes everything just sound so lush, and that's the other rule. So keep things simple and then bathe your leads and bathe your pads in beautiful reverb. So let's just stick it all together. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please subscribe, ring the bell, join me on Patreon, all that sort of stuff. Click on the affiliate links down below if you're thinking of buying a synth. Doesn't cost you any more money, but it gives me a little kickback and it helps me to carry on doing stuff like this. So I will see you next time.